What's up, everybody? Welcome into Tom Curran's Patriots Talk Podcast. Phil Perry alongside, as always. Cuts came down today. Patriots moved on from a number of players. The standout names that you're going to recognize. Chad Ryland, the kicker taken in the 4th round last year. Bailey Zappi, at one point, was a historically successful starting quarterback for the Patriots. He did. He was historic. Passer rating in 300 yards, something like that in his first 2 starts. And, of course, Kevin Harris, the running back, was released as well. Phil, anybody else jump out to you in this group? Mitchell Wilcox also falling by the wayside.
Yeah, nobody really jumps out. Kevin Harris jumps out a bit just because he had good size and he looks like a between-the-tackles kind of runner. And if, God forbid, Ramondre Stevenson gets hurt early in the first game, do you really want to be handing off to Antonio Gibson 30 times?
No.
He's not a small fella. I think he's a little bit underrated in terms of his size, but he's not really a between-the-tackles guy. The other name that I would bring out in terms of somewhat surprising cuts would be Shaun Wade. Mm-hmm. Shaun Wade has been here for years. Understands the defense.
A staple.
Understands multiple positions of the defense. He's really not a staple. It's actually very impressive. He's lasted as long as he has.
Well, he's a staple of the roster.
Playing as little as he has.
Yep,
yes, he has been on that roster for multiple years now, and his value was in his versatility. And he's like one of these offensive linemen who can play 5 positions. He might not be great at any of them, but you could probably get away with him at a couple. And so, for example, I was a little surprised to see Marcellus Dial, the rookie corner, make it over Shaun Wade. But this is a team that wants to go with young players and play young players, and so Dial makes sense.
What did Antonio Mafi do to piss somebody off?
Basically have the summer that he had. It wasn't very good. Unfortunately for him, they had to try him at center, which wasn't his position, and so that went really poorly in terms of the snapping especially. But 5th-round pick from 2 years ago, not a stunner to see him go. Maybe he's back on the practice squad as well. Remember, this is a guy who played defensive line a couple years ago. He's still pretty much I would still call him a developmental type of guy.
Another guy, too, Terrell Jennings. You guys saw him in the first preseason game. Run with some explosion. Phil's a big Terrell Jennings guy.
I like him. He runs hard.
I do, too. Del Pettis is on the football team.
I mean,
that was a layup, huh?
I just felt like
Safety Del Pettis was a hard-hitting son of a gun.
Tom called him Dirty Del Pettis after he picked up Hunter Henry and threw him to the ground in one of the tackle to the ground training camp practices. I like that out of him, though. He was always
jumped on his back.
He was always right on the line there. He was right on the line, even hitting guys out of bounds when they weren't tackling to the ground. I like that out of him. He started 61 games at Troy. You're not going to see that anymore.
He was ready for the NFL.
These guys with the COVID year and everything, like, holy moly, he played a lot of college ball, and he seems like a smart player. So I like that they kept him.
Is it Cody? Why do I keep wanting to call this kid Cody Wallace? His first name is definitely not Cody Wallace.
Caden Wallace, the rookie offensive lineman?
No, the punt returning cat.
Oh, David.
That's what I thought.
You want to call him Cody because he
looks like a Cody.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think that's fair. Cody Wallace. Probably practice squad guy too. I like how he is a little bit. He's got a little gunner in him.
He does.
He's got a little gunner Olszewski in him. He's a fearless returner. He's not a large man. I believe he's in the 180s, or he was at least during his college days. And good for him. Listen, if he's able to come back on the practice squad, I know he's released, but it's out of the Old Dominion Athletic Conference. Not many guys in the NFL coming from there.
Out of the ODC, no. Chad Ryland, we could smell it on him. We could smell the smell of you're about to get cut for about the last 3 weeks. And he had it coming to him. Let's be honest.
I mean, that sounds mean when you put it that way. Like he had done something wrong.
He did. He missed a bunch of kicks last year.
He missed kicks last year. He missed kicks this summer. I would say especially late into camp, it became clear eventually, didn't it, that Joey Sly was the more consistent guy. They would go kick for kick at the end. I loved it. I can't remember a kicker competition like that. Have they done that before?
Not quite like that.
They had these practices where they'd be screaming at these guys and spraying them with water bottles and stuff. I know you didn't love that as much. These guys are professionals, and you should treat them with a little bit of dignity. But I liked it was, put them in a pressure situation and see what happens. And Joey Sly was the more consistent guy.
Yeah, I mean, we can all let the kickers throw a battery off.
There were no batteries being thrown.
Throw a battery off one of the linemen while he's trying to get ready for the snap.
I mean, it might help.
That's a good point. Speaking of which,
maybe they should start.
Let's segue now to some of the available folks. Now, Phil, One thing that's important to understand about the waiver wire, everyone who is released does not immediately appear on the waiver wire. Vested veterans have the opportunity to choose their destination. So the Patriots can't just go out there claiming every single guy who gets released. Some will not hit the waiver wire. But I found this comment from Gerard Mayo, well, breathtaking.
We have an opportunity to improve our team through the waiver wire. And we're in a very unique situation right now where we're third on the waiver wire, and there'll be some good players that get released from their team. And we're going to try to take advantage of that. And like I said, the starting guard or the starting tackle may not be on our team today, but we'll see here over the next couple of days what we're able to pick up.
As we do this on Tuesday afternoon, there's still names filtering out and decisions will be made by the team. So instead of mining through the names of possible guards or tackles and having, I would say 93% of the podcast audience say, who the F is that? Let's just stick with, is the Patriots offensive line really as bad as it looked on Sunday night?
Well, no, because, listen, the illegal formation where the guy's not anywhere close to the line of scrimmage, that should be a relatively easy fix. And so, where you have these situations where the line is pushing the offense back 5 yards at a time and you're suddenly in a lot of 3rd and 14s. I don't think that's going to be the case moving forward, but they haven't really done a lot to give us any sort of confidence that they are not going to have other kinds of mental lapses while they're out there on the field. I mean, we've seen free rushers get through the line all year. We've seen bad snaps all year. We've seen re-huddle situations, false start situations. I say all year, all summer.
Yep.
So this is what we saw the other night was sort of a continuation of what we've seen for a while.
Which is kind of the point that I was making in February and in March when I said the Patriots weren't ready for a rookie quarterback. We'll roll the tape. How you going to play this, buddy? Safe? You're going to take the quarterback? Buys you time. You don't have to worry about someone like Drake May turning into Michael Jordan someplace else if you don't take him. You know what takes guts, Eliot? Takes guts and brains. Admitting your roster situation is so bad you're not ready to add a quarterback. Telling everybody there's no Christmas because you got to pay the electricity and you got to pay for the groceries. Because there ain't no litigator like a relitigator. Let's go once again back to the drawing board and say, you know what, Phil? You got yourselves what appears to be a seemingly very competent 3rd overall pick of quarterback. And for that, thank God the roulette wheel stopped where it did. Because that's good. That's a good play. You took a project. You declared him a project in Drake May. But you've done a good job fostering over the last 5-6 months. But the fact is you still can't use him because the rest of the team is not prepared to have him out there. And we don't know when that's going to be. Certainly they're not going to improve enough on the offensive line or find a tackle. I guess my contention continues to be that had the Patriots traded down, taken a tackle, and say, for instance, traded with Minnesota for 11 and 23, start it again. Make the deal with Minnesota. You get the 11th overall pick. You do what Minnesota did, move up, turn it into the 10th. Take J.J. McCarthy. At 23, you name whatever true tackle you want, not a right tackle switching to left tackle like Caden Wallace. You still get Jalen Polk, and you still have 2 first-rounders for next year. Yes, that is kicking the can down the road. And I'm not second-guessing the fact that the Patriots took Drake May, but I am saying that they got that right. But I am saying that Drake May isn't the last good quarterback who's ever going to be produced. Fix the other stuff first and then get the quarterback. That's my whole thing.
And I understand what you're saying, especially where it looks like the line could be so bad. And I am, generally speaking, somebody who would say, and I remember talking about this when Mac Jones was here, and it was not clear that he was going to start. What do you have to lose? You only have so much time when it comes to young quarterbacks, first-round picks that are on your roster. You only have so much time. Everyone says, oh, if you got 5 years, you got 5 years, you got 5 years. Yeah, you do. But for the most part, you have to make a call on these guys after 3.
Yep.
And you're trying to, or you should be, trying to gain as much information as you can on that particular player to find out how good he is, what he needs in order to be good, and augmenting your roster around that player to get the most out of him so that then you can make a proper decision on how much he's worth and thereby letting yourselves know how much money you have to spend on the rest of the roster to make yourselves a competitive team.
But
for
they're
going to
be punting on this year a little bit because of that.
And I don't like that, generally speaking, unless the line is so bad that the quarterback that you have pinned all your hopes on could either A, get hurt, which I'm honestly not that worried about with Drake May because he's a big, tough guy.
I'm more worried about him retreating in terms of the progress.
Exactly. And if you want to chalk that up to damaged psyche, damaged confidence, broken fundamentals, I think all of those are in play. That's what we're talking about.
Sam Darnold, the guy. Sam Darnold to me is such a perfect example of what could befall Drake May if you rush his ass.
And the situation here in New England is not all that different to what New York had back then.
And I do think May is better than Darnold. Just having watched plenty of Darnold tape to compare, I was like, oh, yeah, May's better than him.
I think he is too. And maybe he's one of these guys where he can't be broken. Maybe he's Joe, psychologically. Maybe he's Joe Burrow, Peyton Manning, Troy Aikman, these guys that got the crap kicked out of them their rookie years, and they obviously got through to the other side and were just fine. That's possible with Drake May. I just don't think you want to have to roll the dice in that fashion.
Is Mac Jones at all a cautionary tale? Not just what we've already discussed a million times. They screwed him up and had to cut him. But when you see what he's doing in Jacksonville, and I know it's preseason, I'm not trying to say that Mac Jones is ripping people up in the AFC Championship game here. It's preseason. But when he was cut, I think I said on this podcast, and I'll say it again if I didn't. You can't do that, Tom. You can't say it again if you didn't say it the first time. But I will reiterate the thought that I had in my mind. Mac Jones will win a playoff game as a starter in this league. That's the baseline. He will at least achieve that. He will start and win a playoff game. The best case scenario for the Patriots would have been, had he not become wholly unusable, to keep Mac Jones for another year, to draft those positions at 3 or to trade down. I mean, shit, even maybe take Drake May and leave Jacoby Brissett the hell out of here. I don't know. He's not a horrible player, but he got screwed so bad here and turned into a puddle of goo that now he's going to be pretty good someplace else.
Listen, I think there are, and relitigating the draft, to me,
is a waste of everyone's time.
Is a little bit of a waste of our time. I understand your argument, and it's a
I
totally
appreciate
legitimate
you doing that for
argument.
me.
It's a legitimate argument. I wonder if we can't just tweak the argument just a little to say, if you like Drake May, then they should take Drake May. It's the quarterback. You got to take the quarterback if you believe in him. Did they have to take Jalen Polk with the second round pick, or were there tackles there? Was there a tackle for them to be had in the late second round or earlier in the third round before they ended up settling on Caden Wallace? There was a run of offensive line. We talked about it the night of the third round, where it looked like they kind of got the last guy in a tier of offensive linemen that happened to play tackle. And that could have been their guy all along, which is sort of what they told us that night. But it just didn't seem like that's how the league felt about the players that came off the board. So maybe the criticism, for me, the criticism would be, don't take Drake May because you need to build an offensive line. It's take Drake May and then build the offensive line with your second rounder, maybe even with another second rounder by moving around some of the picks that you already have, just to give yourselves a better shot at better talent at that position. Because right now, Caden Wallace looks like maybe your swing tackle, your swing tackle, and that's
for a third-round pick.
That's not what you needed.
No. I mean, David Andrews was a rookie, undrafted free agent starting at center, unless I'm mistaken.
No, you're right.
2016.
Yeah.
So guys can be formed into high-level players if the coaching is right, if the system is right, and if the scouting is right, which brings me back to...
I like Jalen Polk, too, by the way. I'm just saying, that might be the argument for me.
Brings me back to, and this is pertinent to now, how much trust do you have in Eliot Wolf and Matt Groh to fine-tune the roster at this time of year? Find the guys that are going to appeal to them. Do they know Alex Van Pelt and his offense well enough? Do they know how to staff an offensive line with the kinds of players who will excel for Scott Peters and Alex Van Pelt?
I think they probably do, because I don't think it's rocket science finding the guys. But what I would say is this. I don't really trust any front office official.
On this team.
Well,
I don't either.
Not only on this team, Tom, but across the league to fix something that seems as broken as the Patriots offensive line does on August 27th. It's too late. The waiver wire is a great thing, and maybe they'll find a guy. I saw Bob Sosi had a great call earlier today on Twitter. I'm going to mispronounce this guy's name because I don't really know him well. Jaron Christian, offensive tackle for the Titans, was released today. Looked like he was in the mix to potentially start for the Titans, and now he's been released. Bob points out he made 9 starts in 9 games last year for the Browns, working with Scott Peters and Alex Van Pelt. And they had to shuffle a lot on the offensive line there. They dealt with a ton of injury, but maybe they get that guy. Maybe he's suddenly their best tackle, not outside of Mike Owenu. That's fine. Are they going to be much better because they have Garon Christian as opposed to Chuks Okorafor?
Yeah, I mean, Calvin Anderson was a similarly experienced guy in Denver 2 years ago, and the Patriots signed him, and he was released today as well. So it's a tough situation they've mapped out for themselves. Meanwhile, I got quick slants today. We've gone through some of these cuts. We're going to have so much more with the next Pats podcast. Phil, what's going on with that this week?
Yeah, we're going to be talking about potential ads. We'll see if they actually do, if we get any intel on who they are planning on adding via waivers. A couple interesting receivers out there. Noah Brown from the Texans, Terrace Marshall from the Panthers, big, fast guys. Can play that X spot. Tyquan Thornton is, I think, your only X right now. I don't know if anybody feels great about that. So we'll talk about potential ads for the Patriots. And then we have Matthew Berry, fantasy guru, Matthew Berry, on with us to help you with your drafts if you haven't done that yet. I know I haven't. And so if you're a late starting league like mine, you're going to want to listen to that.
Good deal. I should ask, too, any eye wideners in the players that the Patriots kept at the wide receiver position? Happy to see Kayshon Boutte made it.
How have we not given you a victory lap for Kayshon Boutte? I said on the Patriots Talk podcast after the game the other night, I didn't think he was going to make it. He's right there.
Yeah, but you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, that's a lot of wide receivers to keep.
It's a lot, and if they do end up claiming somebody like our guy Jerry Christian that we were just talking about there, is he the first to go? He might be. He might be.
He doesn't do the specialty teams.
He doesn't.
If you don't do the specialty teams, you're on borrowed time.
And you're 7 wide receivers. Like, they might dress 6.
I'm telling you, he's the second coming of Robert Woods. All right, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, we're going to get you guys out of here, and I'm going to head over and do some quick slants. Enjoy. Now, meanwhile, a component of quick slants, of course, is irrelevant questions. This is an all-time irrelevant questions interview. If you're watching on YouTube, enjoy. If you're not watching on YouTube, you got to see some of the foolishness that takes place in this Demario Douglas irrelevant questions. Enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, you have the hub of the Patriots 2024 offense. As far as I'm concerned, it's Pop Douglas.
Sir.
Who first called you Pop and why?
I think my mom, but my granddad had passed away on my birthday when I turned 1, and I walked up to the door, pointed to the sky, and said Papa, and that's how I got my nickname. My nickname is Papa, but a lot of grown men don't like saying Papa to somebody younger than them, so just shortened it to Pop.
That came out way different than I anticipated. Well, that's nice. That's a really sweet story, and so I was going to ask, the next one here was, do you prefer to be called Pop? And I'm going to say you probably love that.
Yeah, I do. Whichever one, it doesn't matter to me.
When did you realize last year that you're like, hey, you know what? I can actually kind of do this out here?
That first Bills game when I first got going and everybody realized, like, oh man, this guy can play. I say that first Bills game when the video came out, Pep was like, welcome home. Felt like that was my welcome home game.
You know what's funny? Pop, I remember when we were in Green Bay, did you hear Jabril Peppers screaming to you, they can't guard you?
No, I didn't. But I hear Pep all the time, say if I drop a ball, Pep, the main one on me or something about something, anything. So I believe that for sure.
Yeah, I could hear it loud and clear. I said,
I can hear it now.
They love this kid. So tell me, you're from Florida. What food up here has grown on you that you didn't think you might enjoy?
Lamb chops. I didn't think I liked lamb chops. That was good. I had the meatballs at Aria's. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Amazing.
meatball guy too.
Amazing.
Big meatball
Aria's
guy.
food was good. That was good.
What food do you miss from down in Florida?
Oh, soul food. Some soul food. I don't think I had none here, but and some Jamaican food too.
I'm going to be candid. I don't know the best soul food places, but there's going to be 1 million people out there who are going to watch this. Maybe a few less than 1 million. Can we send something to Pop in case?
Pretty please.
I understand that you were Marco Rubio approved for your performance in a state championship game in Florida that you guys won.
Right.
Was that wild?
I can remember that day. I was in school. I was in the cafeteria, but I didn't have no service on my phone. And my assistant principal came in there, running in there. Pop, did you see your phone? I said, no, I didn't. She showed me on her phone. Marco Rubio posted about me. I said, that's a blessing. That's crazy. He talk about Florida, come get me. I said, yeah, that's a blessing.
Let's go quick here. Lake, beach, pool. Which one you choosing?
Pool.
Best vacation spot you've been to, Pop?
Haven't been far. What I did, Orlando. I went to when I was young. Go to Orlando for amusement parks.
The world is going to be your oyster. So this is the next best one. What place do you have to get to?
Ooh, somewhere out the country. I just want to go somewhere out the country. That's gonna be my off season next year. I got to go out the country this next off season.
You're going to love Canada.
Oh.
Canada's great. I'm just thinking. I want you going warmer. What do you got for goals this year?
Score touchdowns. I want to be a 1,000-yard receiver, and I want to make every play that come my way. Every ball that come my way, I want that ball.
120 targets. That's what I've already stated I want for you.
Right.
I want 120. If you end up with 120 touches, even better, but so be that as it may. So here's your flag football highlights. Look at that absolute missile.
Yeah.
Watch this. Here we go. We're going up top again. Right? What are we gonna do about this? Look at this. Moving.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
You ready to put some pads on?
I'm 77 years old and I'm doing this stuff.
You ready to put some pads on?
Should I try and get on the Olympic team next year, flag football?
Yes.
Perfect.
You got it.
This is my favorite part of the program. It's called, hey, what's your number? And it's very simple. Why is 2 your number?
3 my number. Blooper. Cut.
All right, well, we'll get them next week.